What is going on? Hello everyone. Today is part 6 of Mental Health Monday. We are talking about financials, and I'm glad you're here if you're watching this. Thank you for tuning in. Um, let's just start off with the saying that we know I have to say. So, I'm not a professional by any means. I'm currently studying to get my master's in clinical counseling, so hopefully I'll be a professional soon enough. But for right now, this is just someone who wants to start live streaming and talking and start a conversation about mental health. So, again, today we're talking about finances. Again, take my word with a grain of salt. I'm not a professional, but I'm working towards it. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about finances and how it can affect mental health and what it can do or what you can do to kind of combat that. So, yeah, so just to kind of start off, this is just a personal thing. This is not something you should go off of, but something when it comes to my finances, I always, a good saying I like is if I can't afford to buy it 3 times, I can't afford it. That's always been a good thing to kind of help me, especially with my rampant camera gear. I love photography and videography, so I'm always buying some very expensive equipment, and I always make sure that I'm able to afford it because I know what it's like to feel financial hardships and really be worried that you might not make rent. Thankfully, I've had family to help me out in certain scenarios, but not everyone gets to have that luxury. I am very appreciative of the fact that I do have that. Um, what's it called? I don't know. I just feel I appreciate that I'm able to have the family to kind of back because I know a lot of people don't, unfortunately. But yeah, just talking about finances and mental health. From the APA, there is actually there's a correlation and a relationship between high levels of debt being a common source of stress. I mean, I don't know if you've ever felt it or um, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but sorry. Yeah, stress just comes from not having money. I mean, everyone wants to be rich. Everyone wants to kind of have that lifestyle and not really have to worry about little things, making rent on time, buying groceries, making sure you have enough for groceries, making sure you're eating enough, making sure you're able to pay all your bills, your electric, your data usage, everything. It can all start adding up. And when it comes to mental health, if you're seeing a therapist, I know seeing a therapist that can be a pretty penny to go see a therapist. Even just health in general, if you're going to a doctor, that can start racking up quite a nice bill pretty fast, unless you have an amazing insurance, which I know a lot of people don't. So there are a lot of things that and a lot of hardships that come with not having security when it comes to finances, and there's just a lot of problems that can arise from it. So, like I mentioned before, the APA talked about a relationship between high levels of stress and hard financial hardship, and those can be in high levels of stress we see in this field. They can be causes and factors of leading to anxiety or certain sleep disorders that we can see. um, I know me personally, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I will guess that some of you have also been through something similar where you're waking up at night just worrying about something. Just it just keeps rattling in your mind. It's like it's just a voice that you can't turn off. And I think for a lot of people, especially when it comes to finances and something that they might not have, that could be something that keeps them up at night. And if it's disrupting their sleep, it's also disrupting not only their mental health, but also their just physical health, their emotional health, their mental health. Again, like I just mentioned before, and then it just becomes this cycle that kind of feeds off one another. So it hurts your mental health gets worse. You have to go fix that, either see a therapist or an actual or not an actual doctor or a doctor for any physical ailments, because we see that when it comes to mental health, we can actually see physical symptoms come 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 to light when your mental health isn't as strong as it can be. So that's just a problem in itself. And then once you have that, you have to pay the doctors, whether it be therapists, doctors, whatever. You have to pay that, and then that racks up a quite bill, and then you're out some more money. So a lot of people will just kind of forego fixing their mental health or physical health, and kind of push through it. And that's just a dangerous cycle too, and like not being able to fix that because you have to have your finances spent elsewhere. That just becomes such a hard shit for some people, and it can be really saddening, and can create depressive episodes for some people. It can definitely create a lot of heightened anxiety, because anything can happen, especially we see in life all the time when everything just kind of piles on. I mean, you may be paying bills, you may think, and then oops, you get a flat tire and you're just not ready for it. So there's just so many things that can kind of hinder your ability to kind of have a security when it comes to finances, especially with how expensive a lot of things are today. And it's a scary cycle. So what can we do to kind of um, help negate some of those things? I know one for me. Um, is budgeting. Budgeting is a huge one, kind of knowing what I can afford, where the money's coming from, knowing when money's coming in, when I'm getting paid, knowing knowing my credit cards, knowing I know I need to pay those off. Um, and just having a list of kind of where money's going each month, kind of checking your bank statements, seeing where money's being pulled out of, where it's going to, because sometimes people forget that they have memberships or other stuff that's money going out, and if you don't remember for 2-3 months, that can almost be $100 that you could have saved for groceries or something. So that's just something to maybe watch out for, keep an eye on. um, Couponing, just doing something just to kind of cut prices a little bit, becoming a member at a grocery store, just some stuff like that. It's just like it might be little, but again, like those pennies or a few dollars that you're saving, like over time, those are gonna rack up a little bit, and that can be definitely important when it comes to just kind of strengthening your security a little bit. I know it's a very difficult kind of thing, and it's easier said than done because we all have different finances and different things that we need to spend money on. And it can be, yeah, again, like I said, it can just be a cycle that just kind of continues and feeds off one another. But yeah, we see with mental health, the Mayo Clinic's website talks about it. Mental health issues because of all the stress can be anxiety, depression, fatigue, and sleeplessness. And we talked about in a previous Mental Health Monday that sleep is very important. We know that sleep is a huge factor in our health, our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health. It is a time where the body can rebuild itself both mentally and physically. And if you're disrupting that, you're not getting the REM sleep, you're not allowing your brain to truly rest, it's just going to start that cycle all over again. So, and there comes the medical bills and psychologist bills, and then it just becomes too much, and then that brings along anxiety and inevitably depression. And it's just, again, it's just finances are hard. It takes a while to learn that and really kind of know your limits. And but once you do, it can be a beautiful thing, because once you have that security, or you have a daily routine when it comes to finances that can kind of help you, then you know that you'll be better off next month, or the month after that, or maybe just a week from now. And knowing that can definitely help your mental health, because you have that security. You're not worrying about that. So that way you can put your time and effort to something else you may be worrying about. Because if it's not one thing, it's always another, because it's never just one thing people are worrying about. And just kind of being conscious about that, especially with your friends, maybe. So you never know if someone's kind of fighting financial hardship, like one of your buddies or something, and like constantly going out or inviting them. And like this, if maybe you go out with your buddies to, let's go half apps at Applebee's or something, and someone doesn't order anything, maybe not point that out. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know if they're worried that they might make rent, or if they're just not thing, just, and that can be a scary thing, and something that takes away from them enjoying the time with their friends, because they're so worried their mind is elsewhere. And I mean, I'm assuming a lot of people have also felt this way, especially there's actually a relationship and a connection between people with ADHD and impulse control. We talk about that a lot, and the impulse control with ADHD, with those who struggle with ADHD, or those who just have ADHD. Um, they have lack of impulse control. And when it comes to buying things, especially when you're on the fly or you see something nice on Amazon or something, I mean, I know I felt it. Um, and I have bought something on impulse and kind of just, it's so easy to just swipe and hit buy and see it in 2 3 days with Amazon Prime. And just kind of understanding that, and again, self-awareness will kind of help you realize the fact that, I mean, I'm not trying to diagnose that you have ADHD, that I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if someone who does have ADHD, or if you do just lack impulse control, being conscious of that and knowing that maybe it's a small thing here or there, maybe it's two or three small things, maybe it's four or five, how many things you buying, because that quickly adds up. And yeah, it might be a great deal right now, but is it something that you can kind of afford right now? Can your bank take the hit? And just being real conscious of what's going on with that, because that can also be a dangerous cycle to kind of get into. Um, but those with ADHD, it is important to know that, especially with just quick buys and how easy it is to just purchase something with the click of a button, with putting a credit card in and kind of just linking it to pretty much anything. It's so easy nowadays. Buying things have just become so easy. Everything's just so commercialized. And again, it's just, I don't know if it was directed to target those people, but it's definitely become something very easy. And I just, again, just practicing self-awareness, kind of knowing what's in your cart. Do you need it? Why do you need it? And just asking your questions, because um I hate to say it, but it's almost like you're guilting yourself kind of out of it. Especially when you're in that impulse move and you really just like, oh, I just need it. I'm going to buy it right now. I can afford it, blah, 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 stuff, without really checking yourself and questioning yourself. And because if you don't do that and you just constantly rack up a bill or constantly put things in your cart, it's just it's gonna bite you in the ass later down the road. And it can just be a problem, like I mentioned. Moving forward, check that. Um, Finances are different for everyone. So, I mean, it's knowing what people come from in their families, and some people don't have that luxury. They don't have that privilege to be able to hit up a family member on a moment's notice and ask for money for rent. Thankfully, I do, and I am so appreciative of that. And but I'm also aware that some people don't, and that I can do my best to do what I can to provide for them. I mean, it's not my responsibility, but for a friend, just kind of looking out. I mean, we're all here, we're all trying to survive, but sometimes life gets hard and a lot of shit gets twisted up, unfortunately. And just kind of best bet and best thing to do, it just is kind of just be aware that don't let your privilege hide over or overshade that some people might not have that one. Maybe your buddy and you just automatically think, oh, maybe just ask your parent for rent this month, but they don't have a good relationship with their parents or brothers and sisters. And just kind of reminding them of that fact is just not going to help the situation at all. That they don't have someone in their support system that can kind of help them financially. And that's just going to bring in more anxiety, more distress, more depression, maybe. And again, you're just kind of contributing to that. So again, just be aware if you're not the one struggling from it, but if you're an outside force or you're an outside factor, just know that a lot of people are struggling financially these days, and that's okay. But your job to then is to understand that you can do what you can to help, but if you don't have anything to say that can like benefit them, then you might just want to kind of stay out of it, or ask maybe what can you do. Even if you don't have the finances to kind of help them, there's something you might be able to find resources or find something, or help them with groceries one week. There's just like a bunch of things you can do. Um, or just point them in the, like I said, resources. There's some soup kitchens, or some places that they can get groceries for cheaper than let's say Giant perhaps. And just kind of knowing those different things, kind of ways to cut costs. I mean, I know I've learned plenty of ways to kind of cut costs and save cash, especially as a college student. Because I mean, I don't got a lot of money to work with. Thankfully, all the stuff that I've gotten is just from kind of having investments, like buying cameras and like making money off it. But not everybody can afford that luxury. I mean, a lot of people are so stressed to the point where they're working themselves to the bone just to make sure that they have a check coming this week, so that way they can pay for rent. And that's just such a unfortunate thing that I have never had to worry about, and I'm thankful for it. But I also know people do, and again, I want to bring this up as just kind of a talking point that not everyone has it as good as you are. Some people have it worse, some people have it better. Just kind of being aware and conscious of what's going on. Um, Even if you're not conscious, just being conscious of yourself and what you're contributing to, let's say, your friend, your parents, your brothers, whatever. And just trying to be a support system if that's the only thing you can provide. And that's okay too. You don't need to provide all the finances if your friends are struggling. You just being there and just kind of offering solutions, or just being there and letting them vent. It's just kind of anything, because their mental health might be struggling, and what you can do to kind of just help them is just be there. That's a lot of the times really the only thing you can do, especially if you're not really um, not if you're really kind of like taught within this field, or if you're yeah, if you're just not, if you just really don't know how to explore this field properly. It's not your job to do any of that, but you can be still part of their support system, which will help and benefit them significantly, because knowing they have a support system is a huge part of people's mental health, and knowing that they can rely on people for other things, possibly emotionally. Um, yeah, so that just can kind of help their, it's not going to fix their problems. Again, like their can still be a problem for them and a factor that kind of contributes to their mental health. But just understanding that being there is doing whatever you, the best you can to kind of help them combat negative feelings or emotions, by being their support system and benefiting their mental health. So, um, yeah, so we talked about a lot of things today. Again, mental health is running rampant. It's something that needs to be talked about, and I think is very important to talk about. So, I am thankful that I am financially secure right now. Again, I don't want to speak too soon, so knock on wood. But if you do watch this, just know not everyone is, and it's unfortunate, but kind of contributing to the stigmatization of mental health and maybe the finances, not really knowing what people are going through and maybe why they're spending money the way they're spending money. That's maybe not your business, but this is just to kind of bring light to it, that there may be some underlying things, or things that your friends may be going through, people that you know are going through. So I just ask to really reflect on yourself. What are you doing to kind of help the problem? And if you're not doing anything, that's fine. But just make sure you're not doing anything to kind of contribute to it as well. Because just because you're not helping doesn't mean you're not um, contributing to the problem as well. So, which is fine. So just be aware of it. Be self conscious. Be self conscious of others. Have empathy for one another. And this world can benefit from so much more empathy. And I want to thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any questions or anything you guys want to talk about in the future when it comes to mental health, or for this Mental Health Monday, let me know. Comment down below. I would love to hear your guys' perspective on things, and maybe what people want to talk about. I love suggestions, and I would always just want to kind of talk about what people want to talk about. So make sure you guys subscribe, so that way you guys can always watch these Mental Health Mondays, and comment and like, because that helps my channel out grow a little bit and gets new people to see it. So thank you for watching, and we're about to wrap it up. Again, yeah, thank you for tuning in. I have a lot of other videos when it comes to this stuff, so check those out too if you get a chance. If not, and you just come for these, that's all right too. I have no problem with that. Thank you for coming. thank you for trying to take care of your mental health. Thank you for allowing me to kind of talk and have a conversation with you, even if it's not with you. Um, but yeah, I might start implementing people on the live stream. I've had people reach out to me, which I think is really cool, and I love that people are very willing to talk about mental health now, even if it affects them. Um, but yeah, once I start doing that and implementing it a little bit more, I plan to start getting people on the live stream to talk about it. I think that would be really interesting to kind of see others' perspectives and not just mine in the same setup and situation that it is right now. So again, thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you guys for taking care of your mental health because your brain will thank you as well later on. So um, comment, like, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next Monday for the Mental Health Monday, part 7. See you guys.